Let's talk about very briefly about the return to work formula. Are we likely to see the government, sign it? Because it has, most importantly, it favors the doctors. I mean, they're saying that, they want the money, paid for the 100 days that they've not been working.
Yes.
They don't want disciplinary action against, any doctor who went on strike. And they also want the contempt of court charges thrown out. Are we likely to see the government sign this particular return to work formula?
Actually, when all strikes start, those ones are they're actually constant conditions.
Those are standard.
That now, as we have agreed, we go back to work. So no victimization, any court cases are withdrawn because we are doing that in goodwill, everyone.
Even
so we
expect, even the payment for the 100 days that they've not worked?
Definitely. It has always been like that because they've been on strike. That is being in strike is not illegal. So I expect them to sign that. But you see, what has delayed is that the return to work formula actually should be, they should be both sides sitting to negotiate the return to work formula. And that's what has delayed, which actually the government seems to have their own, the union, obviously will have their own.
So the government seems to have their own return to work formula.
Yeah, because
so
that's
there are
what
two
we've heard,
documents
that
here we're
they
talking
are
about.
drafting theirs. And the union, because of delay of the government coming on the negotiation table to agree on the return to work formula, so the union decided, okay, fine, let's draft a return to work formula, then we sign, then we give the government side to sign. But now here, the government side is also drafting theirs to deposit in court. That one might bring a conflict because if the two of them do not agree or they are conflicting, because we can't sign two return to work, there must be one agreed one.
But didn't the parties there, the lawyers represent the parties there, look very cordial, like, they have one document that they're looking at and hopefully sign. Now you're telling us that there could be two different documents here.
We hope, obviously, because the government one is being drafted not to be deposited in court, but maybe they are using what the union drafted yesterday. If it's just copy and paste or that, or maybe without inserting any contentious clause, I think even the union can decide to sign even the government one.
All right.
Yeah, the problem is that if they insert a very contentious clause, of which that means the two parties still meet and agree, but maybe among the lawyers from both sides, they can just, if it's drafted together, then that means by midday, as the court has said, the strike maybe, once return to work formula is done, then the strike stands, or as I said, the word I want to use is suspended. Because
but it's not given, like you're saying, it's not given that we'll have an end today, even if, until they come up with one specific
one specific return to work formula agreed both sides and signed both sides. There's no one actually who goes on strike and then you go back to work without a return to work formula.
Right. Yes. All right, let's talk about tomorrow's State of the Nation address by President Uhuru Kenyatta.
Yes.
Are we likely to see him try and end this today so that he has something positive to tell Kenyans tomorrow about the state of health here in the country?
I expect so because one of the State of the Nation, I hope he'll address the issues of his government achievements in health. So how do you address the achievements in health? Well, actually, there's no health services going on. Or maybe even if they're going on, it's only the basic health services. So it will be in his own interest. And to actually end this thing today, so that tomorrow, one of the key things will be like start in the health sector is to thank the doctors on the both negotiating side for agreeing and calling off the strike to ease the suffering of Kenyans. And that now, whatever his government manifesto on health is now can be still on course.
But that's such a soft stance compared to what the president had to say last week, actually last week during the devolution conference. Very stern when it came to the issues to do with doctors.
Yeah. I wish in the devolution conference the president actually just read his written speech. He did not have but it reached somewhere, I don't know who advised him. Obviously, there was no advice. He decided to go off the cuff, and I think that's why he made statements which actually, in my own opinion, were uncalled for. Yeah.
All right. So what are you expecting he's going to tell us about the state of health tomorrow?
Obviously, I expect
Apart from the strike?
Apart from the strike, obviously, I expect him to talk about what this 38 billion medical equipment they've been doing, equipping 2 county hospitals with these kinds of machines and all that. But that is one thing I expect him to say. But the problem is, despite all those equipments having been put there, because of lack of personnel there and training, it was not planned properly. Those equipment, some of them are still accumulating dust in the health facility. They have not actually come to be utilized by the patients. So obviously I expect that is maybe one of the key things they have tried to do in the health sector.
All right.
And maybe the issue of free maternity, whether it was worked or not, has it reduced maternal deaths or has it made any progress?
Also, I mean, as you speak about that, there's also the issue to do with that scandal at Afia House.
Yes.
What are we likely to see him say about? Are we even likely to see him talk about it?
In my own opinion, I should actually say he should actually commend what he has done about the Afia House scandal, the people involved. Is there a punishment on the principal secretary? I will even ask him to step aside or resign, because he seems to be one of the architects of that Afia House scandal. Because we can't have the Afia House, first of all, you get free maternity fees, which are supposed to go to counties to fund free maternity, being diverted to buy containers which are still rotting somewhere. And nothing much has been done. And even money for HIV and all that. So that is a major thing and is a major setback for the achievement of this government in the health sector.
As a medical practitioner, what are some of the things that you hope he's going to address tomorrow?
Obviously, I hope he'll, if the strike is not ended today, I hope he'll address that one. To actually, for it to come to an end, and what is government commitment to ensure it's addressed as soon as possible.
But are you expecting anything different from what he said last week?
I expect him to change his mind. As in, he's only, if you don't want to move forward, you're only a person who doesn't change your mind. You might have said that in anger, but obviously the head of state is not supposed to get that angry. We've seen a lot of anger spurts the last almost 7 days. In my own opinion, that should tone down on that one and actually be obviously act as a president, whereby he's supposed to be calm and address the issue as it is. Maybe, or maybe we expect also to say what else is planning on the health sector. Most of the things which are in the CBA, they're actually part of, in my own opinion, if the CBA was implemented from 2013, it will have formed a very good document as an implementation matrix of his manifesto in health. And maybe his technocrats at Afia House by then should have picked that up, because the CBA talked of improved services of health in terms of equipment, human resources, even the issue of free maternity. You see, when you get so many women coming to deliver in hospitals, why it is advised is that in case of any complication, there's a doctor there to do a cesarean surgery and save the mother and the child. So that one, actually, if I was the principal secretary at the Ministry at 2013 when this CBA I received it, if I dared to look at it and maybe even ask the technical, it was a very good document as an implementation plan for the president's manifesto. And he should not even have, if it had been done like that, this strike could not even have been called at this particular time, because the CBA could have been implemented. It's a very good document.
Right.
Yes.
Right. The demands, makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Paul Mwaniki. He's the president of the Pharmaceutical Society of Kenya. Thank you for your time. All right.